I like this. I feel like this is a real meeting of the minds of people who know so much about cocktails.
Dale, you loom large over our show.
I watched one of your episodes, the one that you started filming, Mudslide. Mm-hmm. The one that Tim gave the history of the cocktail.
How'd I do?
Well, not so bad. I mean, I know.
Now this was 3 minutes of research.
David is our historical oracle for sure.
Oh, sure.
Okay. He's a genius. He was a business partner also of mine.
Oh, really?
If you pay attention to what David says, that's the gospel usually.
I'll take it. He knows
good
his stuff.
When we started our podcast, we wanted an outside authority because we're novices, and we chose the International Bartenders Association.
Not a bad call.
Really?
Okay, good.
They're a little old-fashioned.
Okay.
They're a bunch of old dudes. Actually, the guild here is called the USBG. But the real IBA had these, competitions, they were big deals, and a lot of the young bartenders are put off by it because, for example, you can't touch anything with your hands, so they have to either wear gloves, or anything they touch can't end up in the drink. And when I competed, and I had IBA judges, I like to flame orange peels. I don't know if you know that. Like Cosmopolitan. But I flamed it, and I just see the judges going, he's going to drop it in. I know he's going to drop it in. And I just discarded it. And they got my tongs and put that.
And that's your piece to finish. Gotcha.
Well,
Great.
I got cheeks. So.
Damn, that's good. So, we don't know much about them. We just chose them because, on Wikipedia, that's if you look up any cocktail on Wikipedia, they tend to link to the IBA recipe. Mm-hmm. So now we drank all 88 drinks or whatever were on that list, and now we're in the free reign. We can do whatever we want.
Ooh, we should ask you at the end of this pod what we should do next. What would be exciting?
Drink wise, you mean?
Yeah. If you give us 1,000 episode ideas.
Oh no, I have lots of ideas.
So Dale's the king of the cocktail, and he wrote the craft of the cocktail.
Let's do a second history, just so we know.
Yeah.
Talk.
You're from Rhode Island. You're from
yeah. I am too. I was born in a Navy base called Quonset Point, which doesn't exist anymore, where my father happened to be on board an aircraft carrier. Mm-hmm. That's where my mother got to the hospital. I was born in a Quonset hut.
And you grow up, you're running around Rhode Island, little baby Dale DeGroff. Were you growing up thinking one day I'm going to be the king of cocktails?
No, I was going to be a naval officer and a geologist.
Really?
There's still time.
That didn't work out.
So when the left turn, do you remember the first sip of booze you ever had in your life? Do you know?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was in Spain when I was 16 years old.
That's cool.
16 and a half, 17.
You get out in the basement and...
we didn't care what you were.
Yeah.
Wait, it was what drink?
And it was rum and coke in Jerez, Spain. And it was the occasion of the Semana Santa. Semana Santa is a big festival very solemn, where they carry the giant statues of the Virgin Mary and all around the streets of Jerez. And so we would go into the nearest bar and have a drink, my friend Dick and I. And so after about 5 of these rum and cokes, by the way, this is 1963.
Okay.
So we're drinking, guess what kind of rum? Cuban.
Right.
Bacardi,
Cuban Bacardi.
Pretty good.
And
Come on, Dale, give it up.
Good, yeah. And I just remember waking up in my bed with my father standing over me, shaking his head and walking away. And I think
you'll never be a geologist.
Saw the pain I was in, and he said, "There's nothing I can do further."
Right.
Then
you punished yourself. You don't need to be yelled at. I know the feeling because I had 10 Narragansetts last night, so I'm sort of in that same vibe. Here at 41 years old, I'm still learning that lesson.
I'm so glad they brought that back.
I'm looking at that DeGroff bottle. I really like that design.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, really.
Let Tim bring it up.
That's a guy named Steve Sandstrom out of Portland, Oregon.
And that's a classy bottle. That looks like... How old is this?
We're just a year and a month old.
Okay, wow.
Beautiful.
That looks like a classy,
You guys are arted up nice. Look at this.
Yeah, that's...
My DeGroff medallion that we each got.
You think Campari has that type of thing? No way.
No.
This started with Fernet years ago. You must have had a Fernet coin at one time.
Yeah. We're big in
the deal was Fernet gave them out, right?
Boy, I knew.
So all the bartenders, and the way it worked was carry it in your pocket. And when a guy walked up to a bar with a bunch of bartenders, he'd slap that coin on a bar. And if the other guys didn't have their coin, whoever didn't have the coin had to pick up the check.
Wow.
That's good, man.
Do you have a favorite drink that you go to?
Yeah, I mean, my sort of session drink was a extra dry gin martini, very dry, with an olive twist.
How dry is dry for you?
Like 8 to 1.
Before you were creating Amari and bitters, you were a bartender at the Rainbow Room, yes?
Yes.
During the dark ages of cocktails.
Yes.
Did you refer to it
The
as...
dark ages ended at the lobby of 30 Rock.
Oh.
Once you're on Dale's turf, it was no longer.
And was there an awareness? Because
when you were in it, did you feel like...
you knew you were doing things a little differently.
Yeah, I worked for a genius named Joe Bond. Joe started as the director of new projects for a company called RA, which was owned by a coffee company that ended up owning restaurants because they couldn't pay their bill. And they hired Joe to do something at this company. That had a lot of independent restaurants, public cafeterias, whatever. And then he started creating these extraordinary restaurants. His menu consultant was the guy who shared his vision of a new American cuisine, because we were still Francophiles in that era.
At that time, it's like if you're in Manhattan and you're opening a fancy restaurant, it had to be French.
All of the stars were for French or maybe a couple of Italian. There were no American chefs doing stars. And that really pissed off Joe, pissed off his menu consultant, James Beard.
Oh.
So James and he did together, as James's menu consultant, multiple restaurants, starting with the Newarker in an international airport, then on to the Four Seasons, then on to the front of the 12 Caesars, then La Fonda del Sole in 1960 in the brand new Time Lock building. Mm-hmm. A study, a celebration of the foods of South America, Central America, the Caribbean, 1960. It's a cocktail menu. 5 tequila drinks, 3 mezcal drinks, mojito criollo, sangria, pisco sour. This is 1960 New York City.
This sounds like a modern day.
Yeah, to import 3 of those spirits to New York for that menu.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
This was a joke. He said to me in 1984 when I interviewed to go work at a small fine dining French restaurant, what? He said, I want a 19th century cocktail program. I want to find a book called How to Mix Drinks by a guy named Jerry Sanders. So I went to, I didn't know shit then. I went to Fifth Avenue. And I go into Doubleday. So I went, what's that book, man? And then I go to Barnes & Noble. That's it. Scribner's was still open, the bookstore.
Yeah, right.
Hemingway's. And I go in, and the guy says, wait a minute. Comes out with the old and rare. Can we find this book? This book was published in 1862. Last publication was a private one in 1929. Wow. When I said, Joe could have told me that.
Right.
But he didn't.
He sent you on a wild goose chase.
He gave you a job. If you could do it, you could. If you couldn't, it made your life miserable, and then you quit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So where did you
found
go?
it?
I'm getting it. That's great.
I did. You know where I found it?
Where?
From his partner, Michael Whiteman.
Oh, clever.
That's cool.
Went straight to Michael and said, Michael, help.
So you knew you were part of a movement. This was a cool thing that was happening.
But I didn't know why. We were a small fine dining French restaurant with all these champagnes in a big copper bucket and drinking the wines of Burgundy. I'm going, what the hell are we doing?
Right.
What is it with these drinks, And then Benny Goodman sits in my bar. And I went, finally, all this stuff had been happening. Dale Chilhul, the art guy, Phil George, the architect, all these people are meeting with Joe at a banquet right across from the bar. I went to Ray Wellington, the wine master, one of the cellar rats. And I said, what's going on? What's going on? I mean, what's with the drinks? And he said, it's the Rainbow Room thing, man. I said, what? Where have you been? Joe's been working on it for at least 9 months now. The supper club on top of the 30 Rock, he's storing it, And I'm like, so I'm the lab rat. That's what's going on here. I'm the lab rat for that menu.
Yeah.
James tradition, dishes with tradition.
Yeah.
And I went to Joe and I said, Joe, I got a great idea for your new spot up there because I wanted the gig.
Yeah, of course.
And he said, what is it? I said, I thought we could take drinks from the Stork Club and the Colony and the Copa, and collect them on a menu as tributes to those days. And he said, and I said, yeah, make a menu and show it to me. And I brought the menu with Joe and I did. And I can't hire you until you pass another interview. I had to go to another interview with his guy, 40-year colleague.
Yeah.
Really elderly. He's got a feet up on the desk. I thought he was asleep, and I put out. And he said, "How much do you need to live on, kid?" I got to throw a figure out, and then said hello to the guy.
Yeah.
And I
Like $1
I
million
gave him a figure,
a
and then in my
year?
head, I was, son of a bitch, asshole. I'm just, I didn't hear anything. I spoke, and now I'm in the street, and I go into the kind of phone booth you can go inside, and still had those in those days.
Clark
I
Kent.
called him right back, and he got on the phone and said, what do you want? I said, when you ask for a figure, you asshole, you're going to make 3 times that. Click.
Damn.
Yeah, that
I'm okay with that.
makes a nice Negroni.
Does make it after. Oh, we should talk about
This is the Negroni.
the Negroni.
1-1-1.
So this is
So nice. Smooth.
Most bartenders give 1/2, 2.
we're looking at forged gin, DeGroff bitter aperitivo, and Dolan sweet river.
Ford, good friend.
And what would be the perfect moment to be drinking a Negroni? Is it like we're at a cafe in the afternoon?
Absolutely.
We're recording a podcast.
Yeah, we're at the cafe.
I'd say.
This is very low.
A place called the Café connected to the United Theater would be just perfect.
Yeah. This is the right vibe. It's got Parisian vibes, got a little bit of old Hollywood. This is a good
It's a
spot.
nice sunny day outside. This is great.
I hear this is inspired by Musso and Frank's and the Brown Derby.
So it's kind of it's the kind of cafe culture where I enjoy.
I love Musso Frank.
Now, when you just mentioned tongue-in-cheek, of course, you were saying about the big hotshot bartender in New York. When people would come into the Rainbow Room in the 80s and see you there, would they say, oh, we know this guy. He's going to make us...
Well, I mean, we
'Cause
were
without the internet,
a
I'm just wondering
destination
how-
for sure. I mean, we got so much publicity. Think about this now. We have dishes that haven't been on the menu. Tornadoes Racino, baked Alaska, lobster. These haven't been on the menu in decades.
Yeah.
We got Sazeracs and Ramus Fizzes, and look, the bartenders wanted to hang me from the nearest post, believe me. And
But the public is into this.
they're so into it.
Great.
We got this beautiful Milton Glaser graphic menu on every table, on every person. With people who hadn't seen those drinks in decades were like, oh my God. I had these AP guys, man, Pisco Sour, I haven't seen that since I was in Peru, man. Yeah. Wow. And then younger people were like, what the hell is a colony cocktail? We never try that, man. What the hell is this? The menu's sold itself. The idea was to go to the Rainbow and taste the cocktail. Got on the Today Show, got in magazines, Joe was the woman who designed the costumes. This was a studio. I have my jackets now. I can wear them now. They were gabardine, and I'm wearing them now.
Yeah.
They made for me in 1987.
Wow.
And they're beautiful, and they're beautifully made. We had a cleaning department. You dropped them off when your shift was at the end. It was like a studio.
Yeah.
A movie studio.
Yeah, nothing out of place. Just
Yeah. And Harry Denson, who worked at Henry Africa, is the first Fern Bar, by the way.
Henry Africa, yeah, Bert.
Not
we got to
Fridays.
talk fern bars.
Interesting. So, where did you go? What was that first Fridays like? If that's not a Fern Bar, what did you think of it? Was it?
It had the...
Were they doing the Tom Cruise throwing the stuff in the air?
Because that's in Cocktail, the first TGI Fridays Times Square.
Was anyone doing that? Is that real for people
There
doing shows?
more of it in Europe than there was in this country, but there were some guys out in L.A. doing it. There was some guy thing.
Did you ever
It
sit
seems
about
unnecessary.
No, you know what?
Did you feel the pressure?
ceilings for too long.
Yeah.
I mean, I had glass above me.
a little a soft throw.
If I threw it up, you'd hear this crash. They just took our shouts away.
Yeah, they think we're getting too drunk. What is this one?
You're cut off, Dale.
I think Lee told him to take our
Oh
shouts.
yeah. I was watching Drink Masters on Netflix, and
How was our gym?
yeah, when you can, and it was funny because they were doing this thing where like who's the woman who owns the Clover Club? Reiner.
Julie Rent.
Julie Reiner. She made Clover Clubs, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's her signature drink and stuff." And then they had you on, and you made them cosmopolitans, and everyone's like, "Dale making me a cosmo."
Then they had to make one for me, remember?
Oh yeah, then they had to wake with you,
Challenge.
and you spit them all out. But like, I didn't know.
so good.
How did you come to? You didn't invent it, did you? Or how did you come to be so associated? Because they were specifically like
Because
this
the
is-
Rainbow Room was very high profile.
Okay, cool.
Actually, Toby Cicchini, the guy who did invent it, actually worked at a place called Odeon at the time, which was sort of I want to say, sort of the whole art crowd, owners, artists.
Yeah.
They made that place famous.
Downtown
Like
'80s.
Madonna hung out there a lot, so I can imagine the crowd.
Oh, right.
It's in that book, Bright Lights, Big City.
Unfortunately, they weren't getting publicity down there the way we were at the Rainbow Room, because when Madonna drank it at the Rainbow Room, in a party that was over the top, there were in the Rainbow Room 3 tiers. Bob Dylan had one, Madonna had the one in the middle, and Frank Sinatra had the one on that side. and they had their own roped off areas with their own bars. The only thing that they were serving at Madonna's bar was the Cosmopolitan because she liked it.
Right.
And I get a call the next morning because there was Associated Press guys there who were my regulars at the night shift there. They were there taking photographs that night. So they said, okay, got this shot of Madonna drinking a pink drink. What the heck is it? What should we write? I said, write Madonna drinking Cosmopolitan with the Wilderness Rainbow. Great. So it goes on the wire.
Yeah.
Next morning. I worked the night and day.
That would be like the internet for you guys.
Well,
Oh, thank you.
I got in at 12. So the phone starts ringing. Hey, mate. Sydney, Australia calling. What's that thing that,
Yeah.
Bananas,
already?
yeah.
World news.
Oh. So I give him the recipe. Nice. Germany. I'm getting calls from every fucking wow. So then I get a call from Absolute Citron. Not Absolute Citron America, Absolute Citron Sweden, when they still owned the brand before they sold it
Right.
to Pernod Ricard. And
They said,
so
what
we
have
want
you done?
To do some Absolute promotions, but we want you to do it with the Cosmopolitan. Another reason why we'll find. And so then I get a call from Ocean Spray. There is no Ocean Spray. We were using lingonberry juice because there was no Ocean Spray.
Lingonberry
juice. That's kind of carrot.
You find that at IKEA now.
Yeah.
That's what we're using. There was no Ocean Spray. So they call me up. I got so much work out of this, man. And they said, we're going to be releasing Ocean Spray in London and pubs, on tap. We want you to come in. And I said, sure.
Man.
Damn, that's so cool.
All right.
Like that, a couple of years ago when the Aperol Spritz got big, it was like a Dua Lipa picture.
Yeah.
I like that.
It helps to have a beautiful pop star at the peak of their career.
She was doing yoga next to an Aperol Spritz.
Dale, I wanted to ask you about Tiki.
Tiki.
There's the Dark Ages.
Tiki was proper mixology when there is no other proper mixology. Actually, between the wars, there was only Tiki. It was the savior of the American cocktail.
Okay.
Totally.
Carrying the
those two gowns.
Yeah.
And it was
Don
really
and Vic.
Don and Vic.
Don first, and then Victor Bourgeois afterwards. But
That's a
they
good vouch.
really saved American mixology and put on... And by the way, Tiki didn't happen between wars. Tiki happened post-World War II. The word Tiki. Because that fantasy world that they created with these faux Polynesian snacks
Right.
and these
Crab
great
ranges
drinks, because
and
the
stuff.
geniuses have run these guys.
Yeah.
Geniuses have run. That thing was just what the doctor ordered. We had the worst first half of a century ever. 2 wars, prohibition, the Dust Bowl, the worst economic downturn ever. People were like, oh my God, give me some escape. Tiki was it. It was this dream. Oh my God, let's go to a tropical island. This is great. So I arrived in LA in 78. I'm walking around. I'm on McCadden Street.
No
There's
shit.
this place.
Damn.
What the heck? I was trying to be an actor.
Really?
78.
Dale,
I was
put you in something.
Well, Josh,
So I looked at Bel Air that pushed me over the edge. But anyway, I go into this place, it's empty, and there's a bartender there. It's amazing. I'm looking around at the stuff. I said, what the?
Holy shit.
I said, yeah, it's a great place. It used to be a great, great place. We'll be gone in maybe 3 weeks.
Wait, what's on McCadden? I can't.
Don the Beachcomber.
On the original Don the Beachcomber.
Okay.
It's still there. And sure enough, I walked by a couple months later and it was gone.
So how far did your acting career get?
And, I had a blast. And kidding me, I started at the University of Rhode Island. Which had a really good cover, actually. And we took a play to the Yale Drama Festival by a young hot playwright who was on Broadway at the time. So the New Yorker magazine drama critic, he wrote a single line in a theater newsletter that said, best thing at the Yale Drama Festival from the University of Rhode Island, our play.
Nice.
I read that, packed my bags. Had the train to Kingston Station. Checked into the YMCA on 34th Street.
Glamorous.
Where I
Very
spent the next
glamorous.
3 months.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And sure, I was going to be on Broadway and the boards in no time. And something. At no time have I been on the Broadway.
But it's so funny that like, if you're a charismatic guy and you're tending bar, you're using a little bit of what you were doing, right?
It's a show every day.
It's a
I took
performance.
dance. I did all the things Lack wants to do. I took everything from ballet to jazz. I took my wife to jazz classes right next to, it was a studio right across from Sam Goldwyn where they could go. You know, I actually ported my wife on Chinese chicken salad, Bohemia beers, and jazz dance class. I'm not kidding you.
Good.
Write that down. Write that down, slopheads.
But I got work. I mean, my voice is all over the Empire Strikes Back, which we did it at
Wait,
Goldwyn.
wait
What?
a
My
minute.
voice.
Dude, and where?
Evacuate.
Get out! Say it again, Dale.
I worked with Kirshner, the guy who directed.
Irvin
Yes.
Kirshner.
He had- He
Evacuated.
did not want anybody to know he was doing this, so he rented a studio at Sam Goldwyn's studio when it was black, right? Top secret stuff. We all got paid by the day in cash. Because he was over budget and had to replace all the voices. They shot in Norway, they were all different voices. They had to replace them all. So I'm going, Sector 4, this is all I'm doing, stuff like that. And I'm watching it, and he's actually directing us.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Damn.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Now, am I to understand we have a little swag we could distribute?
Yes.
So if somebody could help us out.
Oh, come on.
Let's see now, whose one is this here? There's a white page. I always sung the white page.
Beautiful.
This is to Jeff. Now, I'm going to read this once because on all the rest of them I said, see Jeff's book. And shirts. We're to Jeff, a.k.a. Sloppy Boy, Dutton,
That's my last name. Dutton.
Happy Cocktailing, and Soft Landings.
Softly.
Softly.
Look at that. Hold on. Look at his signature.
And this is to...
That is cool, man.
So
is the name of his See Jeff book, Tim.
I will see Jeff. So this is the updated edition that you put out a couple years ago.
Right, yeah.
Thanks. So this is
Beautiful.
Look at that. What?
Iconic.
And this is swag that is going sitting in my closet because it's too heavy to pick on the road with. I'm serious, man. And the publisher made a whole bunch of these to give to bartenders, but every time I go on the road, I'd have to ship them ahead of time. And
These are beautiful DeGroff
Look at
notebooks.
no, come on.
Are these is this
They're nice.
recipes in?
Well, yeah. Open one of them because there's a whole bunch of cocktail information in there too.
Really?
Great.
Mils to ounces, recipes, all
Is
kinds
this how you like when you're doing cocktails or setting up for a show? Are you going off a notebook or are you putting in your?
He's going from the dome, man.
When I do my shows, I have a PowerPoint in front of me, and embedded in that PowerPoint, thank God, are my notes. Without them, I'd be stumbling around just like I was today with all those names that I couldn't remember.
How did you design this crest? Did you get an artist to do it?
Steve Sandstrom, the guy who did the label, it's on the label. That's
Damn.
Steve is the guy who did that
Man.
elderflower bottle, that jewel with a bottle, the elderflower, Saint Germain.
Oh shit! I know that bottle.
Steve did the Deco Aviation gin bottle.
Oh come on! Iconic.
And we wanted a round and a square bottle, and look what he did. He gave us a round and a square bottle, round at the top.
That's good stuff. Flopheads, you gotta buy this stuff. You're gonna love it. Make it a Negroni.
This unfortunately is one of those notebooks I'll never write in because I'll say I don't want to use it.
It's too nice.
I don't want it to be
Now
around.
go back and find all the
But like,
information.
I'm seeing Pina Colada. We got a Ramos Gin Fizz.
And what's
Wow, even
what's
the
our
maps.
final sip here? Do we know what this guy is?
Oh, you're right. Conversions. We got.
that.
Oh, a little Fernet.
We're big for an.
I don't have my
It's a
Fernet
taste
coin.
test, yeah.
Was Fernet always like we know it as sort of like a San Francisco thing, and
Usually here.
yeah, was
Yeah.
was it always the whole time like yeah?
When I was at the Rainbow Room, well, Hiccups was the bitters and the lime, the sugar, but agitad. And they go like this, they go, oh my God, what is that? I say, well, okay, I'll tell you in about 5 minutes. I go back and I say, that was Fernet Branca. And you forgot all about your stomach, didn't you?
Yeah, right. You're cured.
It worked.
Damn, it's the best medicine. What do you think? What do you think is next? Because in this moment, cocktails are huge. You just said that the espresso martini is the most ordered liquid. Where do you think we're headed? I feel like I'm seeing a lot of. I mean, we've been like mezcal bars are really big, and
Yeah, I talked to somebody last night, and I said, "What's the biggest right now?" And they said mezcal, and then
but it has been for a year or two.
Yeah, and then we heard word on the street that next up is rums.
yeah.
People going hardcore into rums.
But not tiki, but like
Not tiki, but rum.
Yeah. I think that's all little stuff.
excuse me.
No, it is. It's that's
Sorry, Dale.
little stuff. No, I mean,
We're gonna go sit at the kids'
stuff for the
table.
guys that are selling rum, but no, that's not what I'm saying.
Sure.
What I'm saying is that what's happening. Joe, remember I said Joe and James Beard, they had a vision of a new American cuisine. But Joe also had a vision. He said, I want 19th century barter. He knew that there was a time, David Wondrich said it, the cocktail was America's first culinary art. But it disappeared. We almost lost the whole game in Prohibition. The only reason I was an important bartender was because it was not a good thing to be after Prohibition. Gangsters didn't go away, they just took over legitimate businesses. So what person wants to work for gangsters? So it took 2 generations before it was even okay to be in these places because gangsters still ran them.
Yeah.
So by the time it was okay, it was the 50s. Sure, there were fancy hotels where a couple of guys came back from Europe, maybe, but mostly it was just finding shortcuts for no skilled labor. Sour, all that shit, So, I come along in New York at a moment when there were wonderful bartenders, but it wasn't about the product. It was about the hospitality.
Yeah.
These guys so got it.
Yeah.
They were so. I'm so glad I worked at Charles, like Pat and Mike. Without them, none of it would have made any sense. And by the way, you got to have a little bit of that in you already.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a miserable son of a bitch, work in the kitchen. Then you can call people idiots and throw pants. But if you're out front, you got to put that
hospitality.
shit aside when you get behind that bar. And when they hit the door, how can they make this person happy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
You just make they're coming there to be happy.
Yeah.
That's the goal. You help them out.
So, to get to that final question, what is it?
What's next?
Now that we've become culinary, haven't we? Do you know where we got that audience? In the 50s, it was the era of the blend. We had figured out how to process and can, and
Canning,
we lost
yes.
our way
Yeah.
in the culinary world. But we regained it in the culinary revolution, and we created millions of people in love with big flavor, in love with taking chances on near cuisines. And then they walk up to the bar, and the guy pushes a bun, and they're like, "No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you." If it hadn't been for the culinary revolution, there would have been no craft cocktail revolution. Escoffier Caramel, end of the 18th and 19th century, created something called basic sauces. There were 5 of them: Espagnola, Hollandaise, tomato. Anyway, with each of those sauces, you could make 10,000 different sauces.
Right.
Well, we have sour, the old-fashioned, the long take. We have basic sausage, and you can make 10,000 of those. That's what we have, and we also have a trade of purveyors supplying us with the most amazing products we've ever had in this business. There were 1,500 alcoholic beverages when Prohibition ended and liquor came back to America. There are 7,000 gins worldwide today. 7,000 gins.
I wish there were 8,000.
Not enough for him.
And
Not enough.
that's a relatively less popular compared to whiskey and tequila.
Yeah.
So how many are those? So what we have is a perfect storm of product, skill, knowledge. It's exploded. That's what I meant by little stuff.
You got a bird's eye view of this whole thing.
That's the king view.
It's not just gonna be what's the liquor, what's the
Leave the guns, take the cannoli. Remember the old thing?
Yeah.
This is
I get it, man. That's the future.
Plus, we have podcasts now about this sort of
And that's
thing.
the whole thing.
how did you guys go from a rock and roll band to this?
Because
we gotta do them both.
all of our songs were about drinking, so we were like, I guess we gotta branch out a
The
little bit.
pandemic hit, so we said we gotta do something.
That was true. We had, when the pandemic started, we just put out an album. We couldn't go on tour, so we were like, maybe we'll start a podcast, and maybe we'll get drunk every week on the podcast.
Brilliant.
Cut to us,
And it worked.
And now we're with the king of the cocktail.
Well, you're on the road, man.
We did it.
Doing these shows.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you so
Dale.
much. Last word. What are your current favorite bars in LA and New York? We check them.
New York is still Clever Club.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I'm still, to the day I die, you will find me at least twice a month sitting at McSorley's Old Ale House.
Hell, yeah.
They have
love
two
it.
things, dark ale and light ale.
Well, don't forget the cheese plate, which is sleeve of
And it's all the most
saltines.
amazing food ever. Yeah.
Yeah, raw
And
onions.
surroundings of substance.
Oh, yeah.
They did drink.
I mean, really. That's, people say, well, that makes a great bar. Number one, surroundings of substance. And I don't mean it's $2 million bills. That place is like, there was dirt stalactites hanging from the gas lamp.
And the bones hanging in the bar.
Yeah.
I know you're on a tight time schedule here, but I'm going to tell you one more story.
Yeah.
No, I think it's schedule.
Ooh, that cherry's delicious.
Matthew Marr, Matty Marr, London. He owned McSorley's Old Ale House. Mm-hmm. So I went, when the kids were little, the only time a child was allowed in McSorley's Old Ale House was Sunday up to 3 o'clock to have a sandwich or a hamburger with their parents. And I had my sons when they were little guys. And Jill's an artist, so she's scratching about it. There's a guy sitting at the bar. It's a winter day. There's a big pot-bellied stove. You've seen it with the big teapot on top of the fat big round. Sun is coming through those front windows as it does. This old guy at the bar with a dog at his feet. It's idyllic, I said, excuse me, my wife's an artist, and she's working towards a new book and wondered if it would be okay to use this sketch of you and the dog. And sorry, I don't care what you do with it, boys. Absolutely, you can use it. I own the joint. I said, you're Matty Marr? Sure, I've been owning the joint for a while. Well, I said, oh my God, I have so many questions for you. Number one, and this was before they told me to take the dust off.
The bones.
And I said, what's the deal over the turkey and the chicken bones? So, you don't know. I'm not sure to tell you the truth if it was the Civil War or the War of 1812, but when the boys in the neighborhood went off to the war, they dropped this off with the bartender and hang it up there. And when they come home, they take it down and snap it for the good luck that brought them back. Those are the fellas that didn't make it on it.
Damn.
That's surroundings of substance.
Yeah.
Hanging over.
Sorry about substance. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is.
Every one of those
You
bones
can't build-
represents
you
a
can't
whole
build
person.
that into a bar. It is
Wild.
Hey,
Damn.
bring him home.
Hey, absolutely. Go to McSorley's in New York. Also, I want to brag to you guys that I drank.
I'm still working on this.
Of course.
Yeah.
You asked if we needed spin buckets. We said
What
no.
makes you think we're done?
People get a little flushed.
Do it
Absolutely,
again
my
from
God.
the top.
Let's do it again.
Thank you, Dale.
Thanks, Dale.
Yeah, let's
Yeah, this was so much fun. I mean,
Cheers.
guys.
My man. Get some DeGroff Amaro, some DeGroff bitter aperitivo.
And thank you to the Café here in Westerly, Rhode Island.
Cafe, beautiful,
Beautiful.
place.
We weren't-
Your entire Westerly, come here to the Café.
Hell of a
You were invited
Beautiful
here.
spot.
I saw you guys last night. That was so amazing.
Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Dale.
I appreciate it.